He seemed to know all about me, nevertheless, and said that my name had been posted up as conductor of the Nile party. "If I may take the liberty of mentioning it, my lord," he added, "it has made a very good impression. We were to steam for Alexandria the moment the passengers arrived in the special train, having had 3 days of sightseeing in Athens, and I'd just got my possessions stowed away when a wave of clattering voices broke over the ship. My heart gave a jump, as a soldier's must when called to fight on an empty stomach at dawn on a winter's morning. What ought I to do? How was I to make the acquaintance of my future charges? Must it be en masse, or could it be done singly? I had neglected to ask Sir Marcus what would be expected of me, and I was in a worse funk than a new boy on his first day at school. Soon it would be dinner time. I wished that I were ill, but I remembered that the one thing I must not do was to be seasick. Already the ship was beginning to move out of the Greek harbour, or I should have been tempted to get a telegram calling me home. Even the Mountain of the Golden Pyramid seemed not too great a sacrifice to make, but it was too late to make it, and some one was knocking at my door. I opened it with such courage as I had, and the instant I set eyes on the man I knew that he was Colonel Corkran. He was born to be a retired colonel. What came before the retiring could have been but a prelude. A stout figure of middle height, red face, veined on cheeks and nose, pale blue eyes which looked as if they had faded in the wash, purple moustache and eyebrows, close cropped grey hair, a double chin clamouring for extra collar space, and a bridge player's expression. This was the rival whose place I had virtually, though not officially, usurped. I was prepared to hear him hiss "Viper" between his teeth, as characters in melodramatic serials do to perfection, their front teeth having doubtless been designed for such purposes. But his look seemed to denote pity rather than hatred. So might a prison warder regard a condemned man in coming to announce the hour of execution. "Lord Ernest Borrow," said he, in a slightly hoarse voice, "I'm Colonel Corkran. Delighted to meet you. I've met your brother, Lord Killeena. Dare say he wouldn't remember me. I don't think I can begin better than by thanking you for coming to take over my job." "Oh, I haven't done that," I hastened to protest, as he sat fatly down in a chair I pushed forward. "As I understand, I'm to take a few people off your hands, and the hands of your assistant, Mr. Kruger, so that you can go to Palestine instead of leaving that important excursion entirely to the chaplain, Mr. Watts." Colonel Corkran laughed. "Thank you for trying to save my feelings," said he, "but I assure you they're not hurt. I'm sincerely delighted to see you, for my own sake. For yours, well, that's another pair of shoes. My dear fellow, I wonder if you've the smallest idea what you're in for." "In for?" I echoed. "Yes, I'm saying this as a friend. Don't think I'm jealous. Lord, no. I look on you as a deliverer. And don't think I want to frighten you. It isn't that. But I feel it's my duty to prepare you. I might have got on better if there'd been some one to do the same by me. There wasn't. Kruger, my so-called assistant, is a spy. At best he's a mere accountant, not supposed to look after the passengers socially. I gather that he was some secretary of Lark's. Beware of him. He writes to Lark from every port. As for the passengers, the saintly lot are bad enough. Yet it's only the food and the cabins and the attendants they grumble about. I'm shunted off the worldly lot onto them in future. But at their worst they'll be a rest cure, and Lark has the decency not to reduce my screw. It's the worldly lot that's going to make you curse the day you were born." He wanted me to speak or groan, but I maintained a stricken silence, to which I gave some illusion of dignity. After a disappointed pause he went on: "You'd better know something about these people. Beasts every one of 'em, young or old, some beastly common beasts, but all beastly rich, except those that are beastly poor and on the make, to marry their daughters or cadge for smart friends. Lark was bidding for swells and got snobs. Thinks his silly title will carry weight in society as it does in the city. Lark Pie we're called, I hear. I call us a pretty kettle of fish. The girls are the worst of the caboodle, though some of them aren't bad looking. You won't believe the trouble I've had with the creatures till you begin to get the same yourself." "What kind of trouble?" I inquired gingerly. "Every kind a woman can make. Apart from food troubles, they think they're not being entertained enough on board. Think I ought to get up more dances. Tango teas, I suppose. Don't like the way I organize games, are mad because they can't have music at meals, which they can't because the band's all stewards, Blame me because the men don't make love to them, or because they do. And at the hotels where we go on shore, it's Hades. Naturally, the people staying in the hotels resent us. They look on us as a menagerie, a rabble. So we are. At least they are. I don't count myself in with them. What can I do? I'm not omnipotent. Perhaps you are. Anyhow, they're prepared to believe it, for you're a new broom, a broom with a fine handle. I'm only a poor colonel with a few medals given by my country for services that were appreciated. You're brother to a marquis. You paint a lurid picture, I said, when he stopped for breath. I couldn't paint it lurider than it is. But you'll have to find out for yourself. It won't be so bad while you're a novelty. Don't say I haven't warned you. And oh, by the way, I've announced that you're to be presented to the passengers at dinner tonight, on coming in, before the soup is served. As a sort of hors d'oeuvre, I suppose, I murmured weakly. Colonel Corcoran stared without a smile. As the titled conductor of the Egypt tour, he explained to my dull intelligence with a slight sneer. So will you please be in the dining saloon just before the bugle blows the beasts in? I have to introduce you in a short speech. It's all I can do except say, God help you. But I don't see how he can. I suppose your friend Sir Marcus told you that you would be expected to deliver a lecture on Egypt, tonight at the dinner table? After you've finished your dinner, of course. I hope the cracking and crunching of nuts doesn't disturb you much? I confess I've found it getting on my nerves. I was aghast. My mind jumped to the wild thought of eating soup, in order to froth at the mouth and simulate a fit. It seemed my only way of escape, and after that the deluge. But my rival was so revelling in the mental havoc he had wrought that I rallied, replying that, as Sir Marcus had not broken the news to me, I didn't see how it would be possible to deliver a lecture. "Aren't you up on Egypt?" the Colonel asked, pityingly. "Neither am I, though I've sweated over Baedeker with my head in wet towels, when I wanted to be at bridge. But I thought that was the excuse for engaging you. That and your title, of course, which is going to make you popular. As fast as I fag up the names of those beastly Egyptian gods or kings and queens, they run out of my brains like water out of a sieve. Or if I do contrive to remember any by chance together with their dates, which is almost more than can be expected of the human intellect, why, I find that I pronounce them wrong, or they're spelled another way in the next book. But I suppose you know Egypt. Its damned history comes natural as breathing." How I wished it did! And how different was this new programme from the one outlined by Sir Marcus! Just to be genial and flirt with the girls. My recollections of Egypt are from some time ago, I admitted. To give a lecture at half an hour's notice— "In justice to yourself, I'm afraid you'll have to," the Colonel persisted. "It's been announced that you will give the lecture, and the Egypt lot are looking forward to it as the animals in a zoo look forward to their food. If they're defrauded, they'll think you're a slacker, and that you're presuming on your title." "I shouldn't like that," my anguish racked out of me. "I fancied you wouldn't, but what's to be done? Am I to announce when I introduce you that your knowledge of Egypt isn't equal to the strain?" I took an instant for reflection. I knew that he was hoping I might throw myself on his mercy, or else that I would speak and fail, but I determined to do neither. "On second thoughts, I may be able to give some kind of a pow-wow," I replied. Colonel Corcoran's face fell. "That's all right, then," he exclaimed, getting to his feet. "Well, I must be off. Will you have a cocktail?" "No, thanks," said I. "I think I can get on without it." He was at the door. "Kind of hash of gods and goddesses with a peppering of kings and queens, and mixed sauce of history and legend, that's what's needed," were his farewell words. Then he shut the door, and I tore my watch from the pocket of my waistcoat. I had 28 minutes in which to prepare the said hash with its seasoning and sauce, and the bugle was inviting my judges to dress for the Inquisition. Chapter 8